Welcome to Mondays with ADSR and me, your host Brent March. How's everyone doing? Hope you can all hear me loud and clear in the chat. Hope everyone's having a good Monday. I see Bugman's already listed his predictions for this stream. Hey Bishop. Yeah, TI80 Marks asking how did you follow along with the Odessa stream from last night? Yeah, last week. Be interested to see how you got on with that. Hey Abel, Dominic. Yeah. So this should be a stream that I've been wanting to do for a while. But basically, hey No One Entertainment, it's basically the tools that I think people need to get a good start into sound design. So it might be that people already have a lot of these, or I'm pretty sure that from this list, everyone here will find at least one thing that they don't already have, I think, unless you're just the god of freeware. But honestly, when building this list, I was astounded by how much free stuff we have available now, which is just, it's crazy. And the honest truth is you don't have to have expensive stuff to make good music anymore. It's just the reality of today, which is, it's amazing really. There's so much free stuff and there's so much good, really cheap stuff that we have so many different things we can use to create music now. So I'm going to be covering things that involve sampled instruments, synths and effects, and yeah, it should be interesting. I'd like to know maybe what your favorite freebie is, your favorite freeware. I can quickly off the top of my head, I know ones that I use all the time, but what are yours? What are your free ones? Bugman, but having is not all it's work with less. What? Yeah, I think what you mean is like you can have loads of free stuff, but it doesn't mean you're going to produce great free music. Well, great music, and that's definitely true. I think testament to freeware is, pirating software. Pirating software, you're going to get like, I remember one of the big things was back in the day, sort of 10 years ago, people pirating the Wave stuff, and you would get like every single plugin from Waves, but you never knew what they did or ended up using them properly. And the honest truth is your limitations help you create more music. So I honestly think that the freeware thing is a bit more inclined because you just pick up whatever you need and it's free. And I think with freeware as well, you're going to learn to use it more so than you would than pirating stuff, which obviously is illegal. Whereas these companies now, the freeware now is as good as the stuff that's paid. That's the reality of it. It used to be, there was a difference between it, but some of the stuff on this list are phenomenal plugins that definitely top producers and sound designers are using because I've seen them use them. So yeah, let me know what your favorite freeware software product is for audio. This is all going to be basically stuff that is going to help people get into sound design, and obviously not just sound design. You can use all this stuff for producing music, composing music, if you're an artist and you want to make your own beats, etc. But this list should hopefully give you a good idea of stuff you can go and grab right now and start making music. That's the idea. A lot of these things are geared towards sound design. Obviously, this is our our weekly sound design thing. But I feel like if people have these tools and they follow along with future sound design sessions, it'll really benefit them because they've got a lot of the tools that I use for sound design, even if they're free stuff. So basically this should be something I've wanted to do for a while, but I think this should be really, really interesting. So let me know where you're tuning in from. We'll be getting going in just about a minute. And like I said, we're covering sample instruments, synths, and effects. I'll quickly list everything before I actually dive into them. You can obviously see some of the names already that I've got up here. But yeah, it should be fun. So for those of you who don't know, this is our weekly sound design sessions. My name is Brent March. I'm your ADSR host. I'm a producer, sound designer, and composer, and I create music under the alias of Sound and Vision. And we do these every week all around sound design. And we have stuff that comes from our viewers, stuff that you guys want to maybe cover. Could be specific techniques. It could be genres of specific artists, or it could be even plugins. We've looked at some specific plugins and synths for specific streams. So if you like that, hit subscribe, like this video, and turn the bell icon on for future notifications, because we have other streams throughout the week with other presenters on different topics. Labs, yeah, Labs is awesome. TI-80 Mark for sure. Hey, Valley D. Yeah, you're Bugman, you are absolutely right. There's some amazing free stuff in every door. I do think Ableton, in my opinion, has the best free stuff, but they all have some really good stuff. Dext, Vital, Helm, VCV. VCV's awesome. I've done some stuff with VCV before. Did some presets for them. But VCV's standalone, so that's a slight limitation in my opinion. Decent Sampler is fantastic. Yeah, I love the guy who makes that. He's really, really nice guy. Do you think Analog Obsession stuff compares to the paid ones? Analog Obsession, I think I have used some Analog Obsession stuff. I think there's tests online like null tests to compare, hardware against software and those sort of things. So they'll probably give you a better answer than I will right now. But I think I've used some of their stuff in Access Analog Cloud as well. Native Instruments Complete Start, fantastic bundle. It's on my list for sure. It's brilliant. Viking Synth, not heard of that. That sounds cool. Vital has got to be the best free VST ever, in my opinion. You basically, the fact that it's free is just mind blowing. Audio Things Filter Jam, yeah, that's a great one. Really, really good. Noise Engineering's 3 new VSTs. Interesting. As with, my list, please add stuff into the comments or in our Discord. If you want to add to the list in the Discord, that would be awesome as well. Yeah, Pendulate from Newfangled Audio is awesome. BFXR, definitely some things I don't know here. Bitwig, really great. I know Reason's really great. There's some really, really cool stuff. There's obviously more, but I think this is a pretty comprehensive list I've got here for sound design and general sort of production. So let's get into it. So sample instruments. What we have today for sample instruments is BBC Symphony Orchestra from Spitfire and Spitfire Labs. Both completely free. Blows my mind that they're free, especially the Symphony Orchestra, because it sounds so fantastically good, even compared to their BBC SO premium one. So if you're into working with real sort of, I know they're sample, but if you're into working with real sort of like orchestral instruments, I do quite a bit of that myself. That is an absolute no-brainer. Similar for the Labs. The Labs can get a little bit more experimental. There's some really, really good stuff in Labs. So this is the SO, and then we have Labs up here. I will give you some sound examples. I'm just going through the list now in case people just want them quickly. We have our very own shameless plug, but the ADSR Sample Manager is a completely free and one of the best ways to store and collect samples from anywhere. It doesn't have to be exclusive to ADSR. We also have the Wave editor there as well. I'll delve a little bit more into this later on, but there is a couple of videos already on the channel. So Spitfire Labs, Symphony Orchestra, ADSR Sample Manager, and then Contact this is Contact Player. I do have the full version of Contact, but Contact Player is a free version of Contact. It doesn't allow you to create your own instruments. However, it does let you store free Contact Player libraries, and you even get free player libraries with Complete. This is a no-brainer because what you could do is you could use the sounds from some of these player libraries and Contact Player libraries and layer them with your own sounds. Quite often what I find that these are really good for is a lot of the time people want to know how they can make stuff in wavetable synths like Serum and Vital. How can we make them sound more organic? Well, what you can do is you can take some of the samples from the Play series and the Contact, I think it's the Contact Orchestra or something like that. Take some of those samples because they're really good samples, being recorded well, they're optimized well, they've been cleaned up well with, like top tier stuff like RX. Take some of them and drag them as a wavetable into Serum, and then you can create stuff like those disclosure brass stabs. That's what I did a while ago. And yeah, that's basically it for our sort of samplers, okay? Then for the synths, we've got Vital, Pendulate, Cherry Audio Modular, if you want to go down the modular route. Cherry Audio Modular are a great company, and they released that as sort of like a COVID relief thing. It used to be a paid thing. And then obviously there's the entire native instrument selection, which is like Monarch and TRK bass and a lot of stuff that comes free with that. The whole principle behind this is I want people to feel like there's not a limitation on getting into sound design if you're just starting out. And it might be that you've been doing sound design for a while and there's still tools here that will be useful to you, especially within the effects realm. But you can honestly get a DAW, and the stuff that comes with your DAW combined with these free, the free software is enough to be creating music that's as good as the stuff you hear commercially on film, TV, and on the radio. Effects. Okay, so this is where it gets really interesting. So I've got the effects on labs, I think. Okay, so there's a lot of effects here. This is a brand new one here. I'll just shut this down for now. Okay, this is absolutely awesome from our friends over at Initial Audio who do Sector, and they also do Slice. These guys do great plugins, and their plugins are really, really good value considering the amount of complexity that is involved in some of their plugins. And they've just literally launched this the other day, so I'm pretty sure people might not be aware of the Clipper. So the Clipper is basically a soft clipper, very transparent, but it has positive and negative saturation. There's a cool one for you straight away out the bat, so we'll get onto that in a little bit, and then I'll just read the rest of them from the list, and then we'll start actually exploring the sound samples that come from them. Valhalla, Supermassive. Again, I don't understand how this plugin is free. It is so good. Kilohertz, Snap Heap, and Toolbox. As you've seen in previous streams, I use a lot of kilohertz stuff. For sound design, it's a go-to. They sound really, really good, and they're really versatile with their workflow and the way you can build them with inside a Snap Heap. This one's probably extremely obvious, and I think most people will have this. Xfer OTT. This is their multi-band sort of upwards compressor, upwards-downwards compressor. If you're in Ableton, you'll already have OTT as sort of an installed effect. Finisher Micro. Finisher Micro is from UJam. Really cool plugin as well. Baby Come Back from Baby Audio. This is a delay plugin. Really, really great sort of stripped down version of the Comeback Kid. And then they also have their little Magic. It's a chorus, like a little Magic one. Really great for sound design, for creating wide sort of harsh effects on stereo, percussive and top layers. Really, really great. Then there's the Plugin Alliance bundle. So Plugin Alliance is just a free little collection of 5 or 6 plugins, and there's some great stuff in there for sound design, like the BX sub, and the sub generator is basically just that. It'll reinforce your low end, and you can control the low end using the sub generator. A little bit like RBass, if you're not familiar with the BX version, is RBass from Waves. As well as that, there's a couple of other things in there as well. Then we have the Infected Mushroom Wider. Again, really, really great sort of stereo width tool. Don't want to use it too much because obviously there is a lot of phasing stuff going on there, but for opening parts up that aren't too important to the center information, or just for making things wide and then collapsing them back to sort of a tighter stereo. Wider's awesome. You can grab that on the ADSR store as well. We also have Isotope Vinyl. Isotope Vinyl is a great plugin. If you like the sound of RC20 but aren't quite ready to commit to RC20, I do love RC20 myself. Isotope Vinyl gets you quite close, and it gets you even closer paired with Tape Cassette 2 from KLM Audio. So them two together is a good sort of substitution for that, if you will. Then we've got the Klanghelm stuff. So I had to include a couple of sort of like saturators and compressors. Klanghelm MJUC is a very Muse style compressor. Really great natural sound, sort of slow attack and release because it's based on tube circuitry. So if you want a natural sounding compressor, great for gluing, great for bass, stuff like that. I tend to use one of them After Effect compressor. That is a really, really great free compressor. They also do another couple called the DC1A and the IVGI. Basically, one of them is a saturation distortion module, and one of them is a more basic in and out compressor. Then something that I use a lot, used it a couple of weeks ago for the Halloween stream, is a convolution reverb. I didn't realize that there was such a good convolution reverb for free. Convolution XT from, it's in partnership with Avid and someone else. Again, look it up on the ADSR website. You can get it from there, but it comes with free impulse responses. And the best part is you can just drag in any old wave file in there and come up with some really unique sound design. So I love convolution reverbs, but that is great. Honestly, the fact that it's free, it's amazing. And then the last thing I would say is we've got sample instruments, synths, effects, and then sample packs and loops. If you're someone who wants to have access to free sounds every month on the ADSR Sample Manager, again, that free plugin that I showed you before, we get access to ADSR drops. And the drops land in here, and basically the drops are a collection of free sounds that you can use and pull straight from this. You don't even have to go onto our website and use them how you like. So there's some free sounds from there. Then usually on the Mondays, I create a lot of free presets which end up on the Discord. For serum, pigments, stuff like that. There's a lot of audio loops and one-shots that I create. If you want to grab them, just head over to the Discord now. They're all available there. So there's some other ones. I know WA Production have an entire page dedicated to free sample packs. And then another label who I work with, a great bunch of people who do more sort of like jazz, R&B stuff. And again, they're on the ADSR store, is Touch Loops, and they have a great collection of sort of lo-fi samples. So you've really got every base covered here, from sample instruments through advanced synthesizers and wavetable synths, effects covering reverb, covering delay, EQ, compression, time stretching abilities, and then we have our sample packs and loops. So we are spoiled for choice. It's amazing the amount of stuff that we have. So with the Freeware, you can literally create music with the correct skill set is the most important part. You got to know what to do with it. It can be as good as anything you hear. So, without further ado, we can start diving into stuff. Just before I get going, I will pick up questions towards the end of the stream, but I'll quickly have a quick scan through now so I don't lose too many. Let me just see. Viking is a top-notch Voyager clone. Wow, I'd love to. I definitely need to check that out. Cherry audio modulator. Yeah, not many people know about that one. It's awesome. Negative saturation. Okay. All right. Yeah. It's basically a bit like odd and even harmonics above and below the sine wave, but it is a really interesting way to generate frequency harmonic distortion above or below. Sort of think more in terms of like the frequency spectrum, but great free plugin there from Initial Audio. OBXD. Yes, that one's free. Very great as well. When you have missed the one, yes, we're going to go through the plugins now. Just sort of list them off for people. I picked up the 3 Klangeln ones. They're great. Yeah. Tal reverbs. Yeah, got to agree, they're fantastic. They're really good. So let's get into it then. So my first one is BBC Symphony Orchestra, and honestly, Symphony Orchestra it's got to be the best collection of orchestral samples and presented in a really good visual way. So the way I use this for sound design is I often bounce down some of the MIDI information that I might program using my keyboard. I will then record it into my DAW, sequence it, and then I will bounce that down to an audio track and use it as either a custom wavetable, or I'll drop it into a sampler or a simpler. And you can use it in many, many ways other than just using it within its plugin here. So, but just to give you an idea of the sounds that we have available, we have all the different sections. So we got strings at the front here. And then at the back we have our, these are our horns, and then we got winds, brass and percussion. And yeah, it's a fantastic collection of instruments. Different articulations. I think even if you're not from the UK, most people know who the British Broadcast, what's the C stand for? My goodness. BBC. I think most people know who they are. So we've got long articulations. And the best thing is we can control the articulations with these here. Let's see if I can lay in this MIDI CC information. Yeah. So you can control them like this. Then we've got a reverb here if you just want to use the reverb that's built in. And of course, I'm playing this with the violin section, so you could do this with a different section like the cello. and it'll be a completely different register. Maybe go down an octave. And again, we have the option of the reverb control here. So this is the natural hall sound. Really, really exceptional. I love the stuff that we have here. Again, the brasses, I've sampled these in the past for wavetables to drop into the likes of Vital and Serum. So really, really great sounds. Really, really great sounds. And again, if you don't have this one, there is if you have this one, there is a paid version of it, but I would just grab this free one because it sounds so good as is in the free version. And you could just layer it with others. I'll show you a way you can do that in Studio One, and I'm sure there's a way you can do it in Ableton as well, but I want to show you how I can combine these with wavetable sounds without even bouncing anything to audio. I can combine the two instruments essentially. So that's Symphony Orchestra. Again, some of the winds are really good. Awesome, some great sounds. Then Spitfire do labs. I actually used this last week for our Odessa stream. The labs are a little bit more experimental. We do have a lot more unique instruments on it, and I think that's the best part about it, is half of these instruments people would either not be aware of or not be able to find very easily. The likes of charango guitars and stuff. And these organic textures are really nice and cool. If you're not going to make stuff like this yourself, you can still take these and mangle them and make them your own. So this is Labs. It's Let's All Be Something. That's what it stands for. Really cool. All free. Really, really nice. And I do use this quite a lot. I really, really like some of the plucked instruments. The percussion is particularly good on these. Again, surprisingly good sounds. They've already got quite a bit of room sound on them. Yeah, they are quite roomy, but that's, again, I use them for that particular reason, is if I want sort of big cinematic toms, I'll use something like this. So that's Spitfire Audio. I'm just sort of going through them here. This is Labs, and then I'll show you later on ways that I would use these in context, you know. So I'm going to leave this for now. And then the next one on my list is obviously our ADSR Sample Manager. So the Sample Manager will come, it's free, but you'll get it in your basket with free purchases on the ADSR, with purchases on the ADSR store. But honestly, I would grab it if you're someone like me who has samples hanging around your hard drive all over the place. An unorganized mess basically is what it is. I had managed to get into a workflow before I grabbed this tool of, you know, remembering where certain things were and maybe packaging them on a hard drive, but honestly I couldn't get a system that worked as well as this, where I can just find the actual items here in the browser and add them myself. I like the fact that I have the cloud in the store, but really the reason that I'd say it's worth grabbing it is for the fact that you can just load up your samples in here and then you can edit them in the waveform here, and you can also play them MIDI map to your keyboard. And that is perfect for literally what we did last week. If you missed it, the Odessa stream, where I'm talking about pitching. We didn't have time to look at the vocals, but this is a prime example. Is everything's already been sort of tagged, as you can see here. So if I search for vocals, I'd find this vocal, and then I can change the vocal here, and I can play it in time. It's lock tempo and it's lock key. You can even change the playback if you want to get experimental, you know. Slap some reverb on there and you've made yourself an awesome little riser into a section. So the Sample Manager is not just a great way to store, it's a great way to sort of increase your workflow. It's all about speed, and I find that since I got this, tracks are happening quicker and workflow is massively improved. And again, it's another free one, and you know, I know the amount of work that goes into creating the plugins, so the fact that something goes into a plugin for free is worth grabbing it for that. So again, we'll come back around to that one. So the last thing for the sampled instruments is the Contact Player. So the player is basically a slimmed down version of their full contact, and the full contact is a lot more money, like 500, I don't know, like there's no £300-400 more, at least 300. It's worth getting when you get to the right position to need to buy third-party developer libraries, and also I use Contact to create my own instruments for custom scores, and I'll maybe use them to create my own sound design libraries even for projects. But the player comes with libraries, and you can still get libraries from other people. Again, you can get lots of free libraries, which is the most important part. If you get Contact Player, this which is free, my recommendation would be head to pianobook.com. And on Piano Book, you can find yourself loads of people who are, producers and composers, but primarily sound designers. And they upload their own curated instruments for Contact for free. Again, more freebies. I've not really included them in this list, but a lot of them are compatible, mainly with Contact, also with Decent Sampler and Sforzando. So we've got a lot of options here, but I would say the Contact Player is quite the staple for storing and playing your libraries. You can get a little bit experimental here with Contact Player in terms of layering. So, for example, this is Ethereal Earth, again a free library that comes with Contact. Now what you could do is you could layer it with another library that comes with Contact Player. So what you could do is you could basically just change the MIDI for this second patch so that they're both playing from the same MIDI information. And then you could create your own sort of hybrid instrument in that sense, but other than that you are restricted in the fact you can't create stuff from new with Contact Player, but still totally worth getting with the complete bundle. Just grab that for sure. And there's another way you can layer these sounds as well, which I can show you in a second. Okay, on to synths, probably my favorite part. As all of you know, I'm a huge Pigments fan, and probably an even bigger Serum fan, but honestly Vital does everything that they do. It really does. This is probably, if you've got one thing on this list, out of everything, this would be the one free thing to get. I mean, I know that there's no limitations here because it's all free stuff, but this is an indispensable tool that produces extremely high quality sound and has an incredible array of filter types, LFOs, modulation points, and it has some fantastic effects as well. I think let's have a look at the wavetables that come with it. So I haven't got them loaded in here, but even I need to download the content, that's the issue. But I've used this on past streams, and I've got to say Vital is as good as the other ones for sure. Really great. We'll create a patch with it today. Even with that limited saw, I can do something, trust me. So after Vital, Pendulate. I'm not sure if many people will know about Pendulate. So Pendulate is from Newfangled Audio. I've got to admit, it's not the nicest VST in the world to look at. It's a little bit sort of difficult to understand just looking at it, but we still have all the basic stuff that you'll expect to see. For example, the way that they've designed the ADSR is a bit quirky. You can actually understand the ADSR here by looking at it, but it's a really great synth, and it's quite unconventional in the way that it produces sounds. So we have the wave folder in the section here, the double pendulum. So basically the wave folder is something you'll see on stuff like Pigments. These are sort of slightly more advanced synthesis techniques, but the basic principles apply we've got our LFOs, ADSR, etc. But we have some really interesting round points. And let's have a little look. We got a lot of good presets that come with it as well. It's actually got incredibly good low end, like incredibly tight low end, which is one of the hardest things to preserve. Sounds good right down the octave there. That's because we've got two sub generators here, which we can use to even beef it up more. It's a fantastic synth. Yeah, so let me know how many of you knew about that one, but it's really, it's an awesome piece of freeware. Okay, then we have Cherry Audio Modular. I'm probably just going to literally show you this one because it's so complex. It's not worth touching the surface of this for a 1 hour live stream, given we're practically we are halfway. But this is basically Cherry Audio's sort of attempt at modular, and it's one hell of a good plugin. It was a paid plugin. It became free due to sort of COVID relief. They wanted to do something to give back to the community, which is so nice of them. And all of these modules are free. It's a really good ecosystem, the way that you add them in. You can build your own patches with this, but you can also load up a massive array of presets as always. Really great plugin. It's quite difficult to understand modular. We do have a stream on it which was dedicated to a different company, Multiphonic CV1. Applied acoustic systems, I think. Similar principles, though, about understanding just oscillators, filters, and envelopes, really, and then building from there. But if you haven't got that one, I would definitely recommend it. Again, I'll try and circle back around later on and check it out. And then my last thing was just to say about the selection from Native Instruments. I haven't got it here, but Monarch, TRK, they have reactor blocks, stuff like that. So there is a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff that you can get from the Native bundle. I don't know. I'm just looking at the comments. I don't know why it's free. I should know this, but I should use it standalone. Oh, okay. What's this for? When I load a sample manager as a plugin, it always plays it in time when the playhead is moving my doors or with. Okay. Interesting. I can come back to that at the end and possibly help you out. But Ida might know as well because she's the sample manager guru. Okay. On our effects, I'll go through these and then we'll come back around and make some sounds. So this is sort of like our stream dedicated to grab the tools and follow along for future sessions. Obviously, we do use paid stuff as well, but a lot of this stuff is so useful to have in your arsenal, even if I'm using something often as a free version of it, you know? So first up in the list is the Initial Audio Clipper. So the clipper is a really good way to tame the transients and the peaks of your audio waveform and shave them off using soft clipping, the opposite to hard clipping, which is distortion. I always talk about it's a great way to improve your crest factor, and it's really good for things that are extremely dynamic and you want to just have a more cohesive sound. The thing I like about the Initial Audio Clipper is it has a waveform viewer. So as you can see, we can actually view sound in terms of blocks. So what I'll do is I'll try and find something which has got a little bit more meat to it. Okay, let's just record this really basic part of these drums. Okay. It's going to sound badly looped, but let's just pay attention to this. So I can drive the input gain on here and dial back the threshold.